So we've all been there. A client comes to you and they ask you, how much does this cost? And that's usually where price discussions start. Some people might be tempted to just answer that question right away. Maybe you already have an idea of what the project should cost in your head and you just blurt that out. Or maybe you even go as far as saying, yeah, it usually costs this much, but I can do it cheaper for you because you just really want that client. If this sounds like you or the experiences you're having right now, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to tell you 3 things that you should ask a potential client before you name your price. Number 1, and this is the most obvious one, what is your budget? This question should happen before you even discuss any details of the project. So if you're just in the emailing back and forth stage, maybe they've just contacted you and asked you about the price, you need to ask them first, what is their budget? Why? I cannot tell you how many times we got on a call with someone, we listened to their whole life story, we were sitting there for half an hour, sometimes longer, and at the end of the conversation we were like, so what's your budget? And they tell us, oh, we only have this much, or oh, we can't really spend much right now, but maybe later. And we realize they don't have the money to pay us what we charge. Not only is this a waste of time for you, it also wastes the client's time because they could have been spending that time talking to somebody who can offer that price and meet their budget. So before you even get on a call with a client to talk about the things I'm going to go into in a minute, you need to make sure you two are on the same page when it comes to the budget and whether they are in the range of what you would usually charge. If a client says their budget is something that is a little bit lower than what you would usually charge, that is a situation where you can get on a call with them, and when you talk about the scope, you can make sure that you meet their budget by maybe taking out certain things so it makes sense for both parties. Number 2, questions about the scope and the timeline. So it is essential that you understand the level of effort of a project before you name a price. Early on in my career, I used to think a website is a website, so every website should cost the same, or a logo is a logo, every logo should cost the same. But the thing is that the price often depends on many factors. We have other videos on that, so check our channel for that. But it can be as simple as, what is the size of the team of the company? What are the business goals? What are the business requirements? All these things, and that can affect the final level of effort. The level of effort is going to be different for each client. No two websites are really the same. No two logos are the same. Even though it's the same final output or whatever, the process is often different and the details are often different, which means you have to discuss these details beforehand so that you both are on the same page when it comes to what is that final product really going to be and what does it entail to get that final product produced and what is the effort of that. It can happen, if you don't do this, it can happen that you have one idea of the scope, the client has a completely different idea of the scope, and you end up underbidding, and then at some point during the process you realize this is way more than you thought it was going to be. The client is still getting what they thought they were going to get, and you end up experiencing things like scope creep or resentment, and those are things you want to avoid. Timelines are super important too, because if a client says, for example, they want something done ASAP, which by the way they will always say, sometimes they mean it seriously and other times the deadline is more flexible. So you need to ask some questions about the deadline to know if, do I need to charge a rush fee if this really does need to be done ASAP, or do I have flexibility when it comes to the timeline? So questions on scope can be things like, will you need XYZ and how should those things function? How should that look? How should that work? Is there a hard deadline for this? If so, what is it? Or are we more flexible on that? And am I able to decide the deadline? Can you give me an example from another brand that is representative of the scope that you are expecting from me? Will you need more than 2 feedback rounds? Or how many feedback rounds would you like to have? Is there someone in your team that can handle X, or do I need to do that? So it's also really important when you ask these questions to never assume that something is clear. Instead, make sure it has been discussed, and that includes things like who is responsible for what is my role in this, what is your role in this, are there other teams involved, are there any other people from your team who are going to do any parts of the project so that you understand what your level of effort is, because that's the most important thing when it comes to creating a cost estimate. Number 3, ask questions that reflect your expertise. So this one is a little more specific to what you do, and these questions are going to be different for you depending on whatever it is that you are offering. For us, it is web design and web development, and I'm going to give some examples of that a little later. But before you name a price, it's important that the client feels like they can trust you with whatever it is that they are booking you to do. Sometimes we are talking about thousands, sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars when it comes to buying creative services. That's a lot of money, and a client isn't going to pay that if they don't feel like you are up for the job. The only way to show your expertise on a call is by asking questions, not by talking about how good you are at your job, not by showing your portfolio, not by showing all the awards you've won. Those are all things they have already assessed before they contacted you, because that's probably what got them to contact you in the first place. Once you have them there, you need to show them that you are who you say you are, and you are the person they think that you are from all of these things they've seen of you already. So some examples of questions that we ask when we are talking about a design or development project are things like, do you have Google Analytics or any other user data that we can use when we create the design? Will your team be able to handle things like the domain change, or is that something we will be doing? Who is your target audience? What are the goals of this redesign or this redevelopment? How do you measure success? Do you look at conversion rate, brand awareness, click-through rates? These questions make it clear to the client that we understand the business requirements, we understand the creative ones, and it lays a foundation of trust that the client feels like we are people that can do this project and that we can deliver what they are paying us for. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and if you like our content, then be sure to check out the rest of our channel and subscribe. Peace.